This is On the Scene with Carissa Des.
Yo, I'm pretty fucking Leo, but you already knew that.
And we're here with our very special guest.
Yo, it's D.Worthy, aka D or Worthy, aka Worthy Warhol. We in here.
Yes, sir.
Yep,
We on the scene at the Thesis at Lollipop Shop for its second installment, I think.
Third time.
Third time.
Third or fourth,
I just haven't been in a while, but you know. So is this your first Thesis performance, Dior?
Nah, this is my second one. The first time was shout out with Lambo.
Oh, yep.
It was pretty crazy. Epic performance, epic date. It's probably in Thesis history, honestly.
Mm-hmm. That was a big one.
But that was my first time.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit more about what you do in the scene. I know you're much more than just an artist, like on the stage and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about like Soggy and all that stuff if you like.
Man, it's a lot. It's like a never-ending story, you know what I'm saying? But I would just say it's like I'm a multi-disciplined artist. I have so many different ways to tell my story. So it can start with like events. You know, I host a Shake, one of the best clubs in the city, hands down. It can start with private events. So, you know, if it's hosting events that creatives can come and function and feel like they have a place that's safe where they can get their ideas out. But outside of that, I just see myself as more of like a curator for all things, a taste level, and just bringing up the taste level of the city. Yeah. You know,
I think that's a good, taste maker. Yeah. Bring it up.
You know, because people say they're creatives, but it's like that's watered down. So I think like just being like a curator of things. If this world was my museum, I'm the one who can decide which walls it needs to be on.
Yeah.
And I take pride in that. So that's the simplest way to describe what I do.
And I've been talking about that a lot lately, that there are just certain people who they feel like it's their job to shake things up. And I feel like Portland really needs that. And I think that you definitely are one of those people who are paving the road, paving the way for people, for other creatives here in Portland.
I appreciate that. I take pride in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm very proud of our city. I think I've been here for a while and in the scene with a lot of different artists, a lot of different just people who've done great things. Like you guys are building something, you know what I'm saying? Mac's been building something for years. Like all the people who I connected to, they've been building for years. And I feel like now we're finally starting to bubble to the top and get that respect we truly deserve. So I'm excited for that.
We've been doing it for a little bit.
Yes,
we talked about this before too. Like after COVID, we kind of had to start over again. But now we've been doing it for 4 years after the pandemic, and now we're starting over again. And we're finally starting to see some changes happening.
You know, like Chinatown and all those clubs, like those areas that were once, you know, just absolutely bustling. You know, like starting to come back a little bit. I feel like there's actually like this city's like been kind of starved for real hip hop attention and like focus and stuff, and that definitely died a lot when COVID hit. So it's really good to see like more like Motion Boys and bringing people in to the clubs and having people do walkthroughs and stuff, and really just like connecting them with the city. And they're like, oh, it's my like all these artists are like, it's my favorite city now type shit.
We just try to bring something authentic, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like people have like a Portlandia perspective of Portland, and they think they know what Portland's like, but there's nothing like getting on the ground and actually mingling with the culture, actually talking to some of the like stamp points in the city and really just getting the culture. And it's like a huge gumbo that we have here. So when people finally get to taste the gumbo, it's like a unique place. Portland's one of the best places in the world. So
I like that, using gumbo. Yeah, and we were talking about a little bit about your music, and you just came out with a short film to go along with your album. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Tears of Blood. Please go watch it. Tears of Blood. It's a new genre that I'm committed to. It's called a microfilm. So basically what the concept is if you were able to watch your favorite TV show and micro doses, you know what I'm saying? So basically you never have to leave the platform to watch a whole film. So within a minute and 30, you're able to get different emotions, a full concept. Then you roll up, you get another emotion, another concept. So Tears of Blood was just like a step in that direction, and we're refining it and working on it even more. But please check out that one. And there's many more movies to come. But that's like one of my biggest passions is film.
Is that what you're going to be like? You're looking to focus more on that as opposed to other avenues? Is that kind of where your focus is?
It's not more so just like a singular focus. It just is the focus. So like, even if I'm making music, it's always soundtrack to a film. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like the soundtrack to my life. Shout out to Cuddy. It's like when we talk about making movies and films, it's like, yes, in a cinematic format, but also metaphorically for everything. Everything is like a movie. You know what I'm saying?
It really is. Yeah. I think there's some really special moments, even especially like at places like the Thesis too, where you see it and then you you kind of pause and there's like no one has their phones out, like everything's just so organic and natural, and like you know, a lot of these shows that are popping up back in the city, it's crazy rave joints popping up, and I'll be in them, I'm like, this is really like this is like cinematic, you know, because people are like, oh, last night party was crazy, I got drunk. No, there's some real movie moments. Within
and
the
it's
scene right now,
and it's you know, for sure, and it's really authentic, and it's just so raw, but at the same time, you have to have a like base and like a platform set up for what you're doing. You can't just go like willy nilly and like just go out there and you know, make moves. Like you I'm sure that you do. There's a lot of planning that goes into your process. And is Soggy a place where you do a lot of like your planning for your creative endeavors and projects?
Well, so like, you know, just to speaking like fast forwarding, like Soggy, basically what it is a conceptual album that we made for the city of Portland. So between me, I Love McConan, and, you know, Burn Money, is basically a project that we brought all the best local artists, in our opinion, or, you know, just at this time that deserve to be highlighted. We put them all on one compilation, and we're just shining light on the city. You know, basically Soggy is like our city, Portland. We've been wet, we've been muddy, and, you know, we're not saying swaggy no more. We're saying soggy. Like, we've been waiting for an opportunity, and now it's like, fuck that, we taking our opportunity. So when we did Soggy and we did the Soggy, you know, project where creatives can come and have a good time, it was more so they can have a safe place that they can see, like, this is where we're going, this is what we're trying to do. So our emphasis wasn't to make like Soggy a place that like would last forever, but more so to like start the journey and the mission. So honestly, a lot of my works is done either in private or, you know, like in the studio at 11 Studio. Shout out to Zach, that's like my home, or just like with my guys, you know, the Blow Up Kids, and we just are like on the phone. It could be in the bathroom, it could be in the airport. It's like everything is always everywhere, which is like our special sauce. Is like we don't have a definitive spot
like
where inspiration.
Every once a week you have a meeting. That's kind of like Leon knows. Sometimes I'll just like have this little creative spurt, so I'll just like call them and be like, hey, I got these ideas, and I'm like 10 of these things, and Leon's like, wait, my brain, like, and
that's the best form of therapy. You know what I'm saying? It's like having somebody
just getting it out, and like
having somebody who picks up the phone and doesn't tell you you're crazy and says, well, even if they know the idea might not even fucking come to light, it's just the fact that they answer the phone, they receive what you said, and then they'll be like, all right, let's do it. Like, you know, like shout out my guy Mark Jacobs. It's like I call him 20 million times and he'll call me 20 million times. It's like their ideas, I'm not gonna lie, that never leave the cutting board, but it's like the fact that you could express that. Yeah. Because that's the biggest thing, is like when you're a kid and you draw on a wall, it's like as soon as your mom says stop drawing on the wall, for some kids, that's the end of drawing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't go much further than that. But if your mom is like, well, don't draw on the wall, but here's a piece of paper, she's influencing you to continue. And I think that it's very important to have friends or, you know, outliers, even if it's a fan, you know, a girlfriend, somebody who just says, hey, just keep drawing, you know? So that's important.
Keep drawing. 100%.
Yeah. And I think especially when you're when you're motivated and you have big dreams, but especially in like the creative scene, a lot of people will tell you that you're crazy, or they will say that your dreams are too big. How do you deal with that? Because I'm sure that you've dealt with that along the way as well.
I mean, I realize that honestly, like if they don't say that, then I'm not doing the right shit. Just because it's like if you've been chasing your dream long enough, it's like everything you thought was crazy becomes the norm, you know? So it's like the way I dress, say for instance, a couple years ago, somebody might say they didn't see it, and then 10 years later they'll dap you up wearing the same outfit you had 10 years ago. So it's like, you know, especially in this microwave generation. So I've just learned more so to like lean on my gut instinct, but also at the same time, it's like, fuck them. Like at the end of the day, if everybody thought my idea was tight, I probably wouldn't think it's good. So it's like, as soon as someone says they don't like my idea, I lean more into it, and I'm like, I think we're on the right path.
I mean, that's what most people will say. Like, you know, the producers, artists, they always talk about where the discomfort is. I think David Bowie talks about that a lot. He would say like, when everyone's like pushing back, when everyone's like saying this is fucking like fuck that, you gross, it's fucking nasty, you know, I don't fuck with that shit. That's where the magic is. That's how people get to, like, that's where rock and roll came from. That's where hip hop came from. It came from people pushing back against this subculture, and then it just became bigger than life. Hip hop's larger than life now. It's the biggest culture across every continent now. So it's like, and
it's just fire to be an individual. It's fire to like literally come up with something in your head, make something in your bedroom, and have no excuses and put it out into the world, because this is how I feel. And it's like that's what this That's what this world is made for.
That
It's
to me
not.
is so special when you have this idea and then it comes to fruition, like with a lot of hard work. Even if it wasn't the best idea, it's like just seeing it in real life. You're like, wow, I fucking did this.
Yeah,
You know?
fuck if it's the best idea. You know, art is subjective. Everything we do is literally subjective. I can think it's the greatest or it's the worst, but at the end of the day, there's a few people who push it out, and the rest of them are just talking. So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm worried about people who put numbers on the board, and that's about it.
Yeah, real fucking talk, real talk. It doesn't also like charting followers, all that kind of shit. I don't pay attention to that. I pay attention to people who are actually talking with like important people. Like I'll like, you know, if I tap in with someone that I know in LA in the industry or something like that, and they're like, oh, you know about this person? I'm like, oh, bet they might have like 500 followers, but like they're actually making moves. They're actually being noted by people who I actually care about, and it's never been the case where I've like seen someone who's got like all this motion and stuff, and then suddenly like they're the person that I'm talking to is like, yo, this person's it. Like, I'm like, oh, no shit. Like, it's always the little tiny guys that come up like crazy. You know, I've been following, for instance, like Tizo, years. My best friend I grew up with in middle school, he's from Beaumont, and I've known about Tizo, TT Baby, all them for years. And look at him now. And that nigga was weird. I was like, this dude is a little, I was like, I don't know, but look at him now.
Yeah,
Anytime you feel like that, just keep your eye on it.
Yeah. No, I think people who are
I'm like, I'm like, wait.
Anytime somebody's super weird, but they stick to their style and they don't give a fuck like what other people think. That's the one right there. Yeah, for sure.
There's always also like there's like, you know, there's a lot of disenfranchised people out there who will see you doing that and really resonate. Like you'll bring people out of the mud. Like you'll bring people that you would never have even interacted with ever in your life. Like, you know, on SoundCloud even, like you'll find like these little microcosms of fans who are like, yo, you're saying and doing the things that I've always felt, but I didn't know how to express them, and now I really appreciate you for doing that. So I think Tizo's a really good example of that. You know, just being, like,
he's a great artist.
Mm-hmm. He really is, for sure.
Yeah. So how did you get your start in music and just as a creative? Was it something that you always have done, always been into, or is it something that's newer?
I mean, for me, I mean, creativity and art is just like pumping through my veins, I would say. But as far as just like being a musical artist, I would say the pivot would start early, like a butterfly effect, feeling when I hear certain music, you know, like back in the day listening to No Limit, or back in the day listening to, you know, D'Angelo Brown Sugar. And the first time I ever seen that CD sitting on my uncle's desk, and like it was 1997. I just remember the way that room smelled, the way that music felt. And I didn't know I wanted to be a musician, but I was like, all of that, whatever that feeling is, matters to me. Same way as like when you hear Michael Jackson as a kid and you're like, that's really fucking sick. I don't know what that means, but it's sick. And then, you know, fast forward, writing poetry, living life, and then, you know, getting to college, and it's like, I thought I was going to be an athlete. I wasn't a great athlete, but everyone was, you know, Michael Jordan syndrome. They wanted to be something. And then literally just realizing I didn't have any other talent besides writing and speaking and making music. And then it was respected. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always been a cool nigga. So it's like, when you do certain things that are quote unquote weird or avant-garde to like, you know, a hood group of people, and they're like, yo, you do good at that, like keep doing that, then I was like, yo, I'm in the right place. But also it's just natural. I haven't done anything in my life that felt more natural than this besides being a father, you know?
Okay. I didn't even know you were a father. That's cool.
I mean, I'm a father to a lot of sons in the city. I got a lot of sons in the city.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I have a daughter, a beautiful daughter.
Metaphorically, literally, all the above, you know?
Does she listen
Most
to your
surrogates in history. She
Does
listens
she?
to my music? Of course, my daughter's my biggest fan. Like anytime I like, she has me on her Spotify, she'll tell her like her friends at school, like, yo, you know, my dad does this and they want me to perform and stuff.
So cool.
But she's just been there since day one. Like when you are an artist, especially I feel in our generation, it's like your kid is right there with you on social media, right there with you in the grind. You know what I'm saying? I used to hold my kid under my arm and literally listen to beats. So it's like, this is her. She's a hip hop baby. The same way I felt about that D'Angelo CD. I know she hears, you know, like you say, Tizo. Like we ride around listening to Tizo. So it's like, I'm very conscious of like the lifestyle that she's hearing and portraying. And I think that she's proud of me. So that's a good sign. Definitely.
She make music too?
She makes some form of music, but she's more so of like a dancer. Okay. You know, more so like a painter, but she can sing her heart out.
Wow, okay. Wow.
She has the artistic gene though.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I seen this. There's like, I posted on my story the other day. There's like this 1-year-old kid who just got like national or internationally remarked as a world class painter. This dude is. This
Oh,
kid
I
is
saw
one.
that.
Like,
I
he's
saw
1
that.
years old.
Like-
I'm like, bro, this
But
guy's
that just
like-
shows
When you got it, you got
art is
it.
so
Like-
subjective. It's just
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
and now that kid is world renowned. So it's like, if you think about it at 12, he probably wouldn't want to do it anymore because
Yeah.
he's gonna see
Yeah.
how fake the shit is. So it's like,
Well, nothing lasts forever, you know. Like that
and he
be
might
his
be
moment,
something
you know?
else
Like,
world renowned.
exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
cool thing about like whenever you're an artist,
You're gonna get back there. You're gonna get there.
everything is art. You know what I'm saying? Like he's probably painting with his fingers now, and then he's gonna be like, why
Yeah.
not make a movie? Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and that's my favorite thing for artists is like, look forward to the time that you don't want to do what you do. So if
Yeah.
it's rapping and you start singing, it's like lean into that. If you sing and then now you don't want to, you want to do spoken word, or if you want to make clothes, it's like that's the epitome of being a creative. It's not just saying you're a creative on Instagram and making screen printed shirts. It goes deeper. It's like, what are your references? What are you looking at? And sometimes it's simple. You don't need to be caring that deep, but you just need to understand that like saying you're creative comes with a certain weight. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like I'm tired of people just saying like I'm a creative and it's just like a job title. Like no. Creativity is life. Creativity is the person who made these microphone stands. To all of this stuff we're wearing is all creativity. So we're all creative, but to say you're an actual creative means that you consistently create. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
Yeah.
take that to heart, everybody out there,
Yeah.
please.
And what I like about being a creative is that, like, you know, you could switch and, like you said, you know, go from being a writer to like
mediums,
being a painter, but then you can always go back. Like you still have that. You can always and it's
There's
fine.
no
Like,
rules.
like,
Do
There's
whatever
no
you
rules.
feel like doing.
I haven't produced in so long, man. I used to be like, I'm a producer. I'm like, no. I just.
You
be
still can
doing
be.
shit.
Just
I still
because you
can
haven't
be.
done it in a
No,
while. Like, you could always go back to it, you know?
You know, I mainly work in music.
You're everything you feel you are. You know what I'm saying? And the only time that it matters is if you get outside of yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you're saying you're something for somebody else's attention,
Yeah.
that's when you get into a problem. But if in your heart I'm a producer, you're a producer. It's the same way as like I'm a director. I make films. It's like, yes, I don't have Scorsese type films yet, but it's like I walk as a film director and I will continuously be a film director because I'm the director of my life, which is my film.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
Film, canvas, you roll.
exactly.
And another thing, like that kid the 1-year-old who's like world renowned painter, he probably has his parents or somebody in his life who's really good at marketing, or they did it right at least, so that other,
Very
like the world
supportive.
can
You tell they're
see.
very supportive. Like
And that's really
they seem like they
important.
probably have money, too.
Like you can make the best music, but if your marketing isn't on point, it's possible that nobody will see your stuff. Sometimes
And
you get
that's not
lucky.
your
Sometimes
goal,
you get
Some
lucky,
people
but
don't want to be, famous or have a lot of money from it. But like there is, it's also being savvy in those things, like with media, financial literacy and those kind of things. Just being like, yeah, I'm a creative, but I also take care of myself. I think it's more about being like, I take care of myself, like contracts, always sign your contracts. Be careful about
all the
that
things,
shit.
all the things.
All the things.
But I feel like you're really good at marketing.
Mhm.
So I think anything you do, like you can put it out there.
I appreciate that. I mean,
Yeah, R&D and-
not to
Yeah.
cut you off, but when you say marketing, it's like for me, like I said, it just goes back to like
Mhm.
we really give a fuck. Like
Mhm.
me and my blow up kids, like we really give a fuck. It doesn't matter. Like we've done things that are amazing that doesn't get its recognition, but in our hearts, it's the same way that we go hard because we care. And for the one kid who's out there who does care, it's like, at least I have a stamp or a role model I can look up to that's like, when nobody came to the show, he gave everything he had. And when no one wore his clothes, he wore his clothes. And when no one else, because at the end of the day, if D.Worthy has 1,000 fans, I'm D.Worthy. If D.Worthy has one fan, D.Worthy is still D.Worthy's fan.
Mhm.
So it's like, that's the only thing that's going to keep you going through the trenches and everything I've been through. Like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you got to have yourselves.
Yeah. And some people have branding where it's a completely different character than like, musicians. And they might have like a completely different character when they're on stage. But I feel like yours is who you actually are,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It might not be in the next couple years.
Yeah.
You guys might
That's
see
the
me in a
thing is-
tiger suit or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hair bleached, all the.
I think evolution is super important too,
Of course, of course.
Do what you feel though, because I feel like there's some people that are like, you know what, I'm just gonna fucking change everything because, I mean, and they should, if they feel like they should just, but like some people I feel like change things just so that they're in the public eye more. But then there's some individuals that really are like, I am shedding a whole me that's not me anymore, and then it becomes visual, it becomes apparent.
It's your movie, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, switch characters. Like I said, like even just for tonight, like I'm just here to fucking live in this moment and just exist and show you guys like my movie, my film, my world. It doesn't matter who else is on the stage. Respect to everybody involved. But it's like every time I come on the stage, my only thing is to literally TNT, Acme Bomb, fucking Warner Bros, run through a wall like, you know, Wile E. Coyote, and just give you that experience that it's like, I feel like I'm a kid. I left as a kid. I'm crying as a kid. I'm rejoiceful as a kid because honestly, I'm grateful. There's a lot of days I didn't want to be here. Some days, shit, I woke up this morning and didn't really want to be here. So it's like the fact that I'm here and I'm pushing and I'm going. I have my best friends with me. That's the most important thing. And for anybody out there, it's like, just show up to class. It's your classroom. Just show up to class and do what you feel, you know, right on the wall, fucking be Bart Simpson if you got to.
I'm not
but
crying
like,
today.
Yeah, we're not crying today.
Don't
We
make me
winning.
cry today. Well, no, what you're saying really, like, you know, it really makes sense because there's, you know, there's days where I just don't want to show up, but once you actually show up, you just kind of get back into what you're doing and get back into yourself and your life, and it ends up being good usually.
Yeah, like I told my best friend, like, honestly, the only way that I feel alive is when I make something. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I'm down in the dumps, it's like nobody can make me feel as good as making a new song or making a film or designing a stage. So
that beauty is like, I fucking remember who said it. I saw it on Instagram, I think too, but it was like the beauty, the things that you're missing when you're feeling down in the dumps is in your creative act and just getting back into that creative act.
Yeah.
Like when you have, you know, like beat block or, you know, writer's block or whatever, it's that beauty, that magic that you're missing in your life is in that creative, like back in that creative thing. You're going to find that by continuing to exercise that muscle, even if it's just, you know, a couple of minutes a day. Like that's how I've found myself.
It's in you,
know, rejoicing and being like, oh wait, no, life ain't so
that's a
bad,
fact.
you know?
That's a fact.
Sure.
I got one more last question before we get out of here. I gotta fucking turn this stage up.
I have never seen you perform.
Oh,
that's the last question.
Live,
I have never seen you perform.
No, so that wasn't the question. So I'm excited to actually see you. That's why I was like, we need to start this interview early.
Yes.
I worked at the door at a show that you were at, and I kind of peeked my head in, and I could hear you, but I couldn't see the stage. So I'm excited. Yeah. But I just want to ask you, what do you have coming up that you want to talk about? Do you have any big projects in your movie that you want to talk about? Let your fans.
Like how you said in my movie. I hate when people always say coming soon. It feels like very cliche and very corny. And
I personally don't like to tell
they
you
start listing off what's coming and it never happens. I mean, it's more so like I just say, like, I just leave you with a last word. Just please continue to keep supporting me. If you don't know who I am, keep watching me. If you're afraid to get close to me, watch from a distance. But I have like some of the most amazing music I've worked on. It saved my life. It saved my friends' lives. Films, clothing. But like I said, all that shit is cliche. Just be in this moment with me. When I pop up on your feed, make sure that you read. When I pop up on your story, make sure you watch my story and listen to the story. Because it is a story I'm giving, you know what I'm saying? And this world of marketing and cliche and facade and shit, I might be the last real one left. So it's just appreciate me while I'm here. Appreciate a true artist. And I just want to let you know I care about you. I care about this shit I'm doing. And I'm going to be here as long as God wants me to. My name's D.Worthy. I appreciate y'all interviewing me.
Thank you so much.
And I'm at the Thesis tonight, and it's going to be lit.
It's been on the scene with Carissa Des.
I'm pretty Leon.
Peace. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.